For the first time in our union's history, we had all three companies bargaining right here at the Solidarity House, leading into the final hours of our strike deadline. We've been working hard, trying to reach a deal for economic and social justice for our members. We have been firm. We are committed to winning an agreement with the Big Three that reflects the incredible sacrifice and contributions UAW members have made to these companies.
So we've been talking about this heavily the last couple of weeks. The deadline has now passed, and it looks like the auto workers are going on strike. So this is going to affect the big automakers. So it's going to be Ford, GM, and Stellantis. We'll go through the details of this. I'll share my thoughts and get yours as well. So the first is really interesting. They're picked, this is the workers, they picked 3 locations. So one's going to be Ford. So that's the Michigan plant where they make the Bronco. GM, so that's going to be in Missouri where they make the Chevy Colorado. It's a midsize pickup. And then the Stellantis factory in Toledo, Ohio, where they make the Jeep Wrangler. And the basic gist of it is, I guess they're targeting the factories that are the most profitable. I think that's how they state it here. The strategies are designed to methodically cut production of profitable vehicles while minimizing the impact of the UAW strike fund. And when they mentioned strike fund, if you're going on strike, you get paid a little bit of money. I was looking at it here. I think it's $500 a week. Yeah, they will get $500 a week from the union to go on strike. And they said 12,700 workers at 3 plants will be part of the initial action. And
not excited about the $500, but it takes some to get a lot. You know what I'm saying? So I got to do what I got to do to get what's owed me. That's all.
And I'll ask you, Chris, too, because so it's only the assembly and paint that is on strike, right? So you're part of the factory here. You're not on strike, right?
Yep, stamping and ISA and bodies not on strike right now. We don't know if we're gonna go. They're gonna go on strike. It's possible they will. We don't know yet.
In the meantime, what's your role? What you're out here today with everybody. What are you gonna be doing?
This is supporting everybody. You know, I'm not on strike yet, but I gotta support my team, my family out here.
And I assume you're in the local 900. You know probably a lot of people that are on strike. Have you been talking to them and hearing from them? And what has that been like?
We've just been trying to stick together and just one day at a time, see what they come up in negotiations.
So last question I'll ask both of you. I guess you could say the Big Three, but I'll target it specifically at Ford since you both work at Ford. What message do you want to send to Jim Farley and to the Ford, leadership?
We just want a fair contract. It hasn't been fair.
He couldn't do what we do on the line. So we make this company billions of dollars on our backs. You know what I'm saying? My parents retired from here. Give us what we deserve. That's all we're asking for. Nothing more, nothing less. Just give us what we deserve.
We want our pensions back. A lot of the new people don't have no pension.
Take care of the retirees. Take care of the retirees.
whether or not it'll be a general strike, who knows? And my gut would tell me that I don't think the union has enough money just to pay everyone to go on a general strike, because it's a tough thing for workers, because yes, you get paid more money, and should you just walk out? The union says you're gonna walk out, but you got bills to pay and these kind of things. And this is where if you're, say, the auto company / managers, from that side, from the management side, you just want, well, I'm just gonna wait it out, and don't let the door hit you on the way out, that kind of tough talk. And that's kind of how the Hollywood, the producers / studios have been saying, and basically we're gonna bleed the writers and actors out, that kind of stuff. So it's not a nice game. I can't stress enough, this is not a nice game at all.
Amanda, you work on the box line, you said, for Ford, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so you are now on strike along with about 3,000 other people who work here at the factory. Tell me how you're feeling tonight.
I feel it's worth it being out here on strike because we need more money. The cost of living that went up, so that's why I'm out here. I just got off work and I came out here to strike.
You were working until just a few minutes ago?
Yeah.
Okay. And what to you in this negotiation is most important? What are you looking for?
Cost of living, more money, everything that we asking for.
As of tomorrow, it seems you're going to be on a strike pay. Is that your understanding, making about $100 a day?
Yeah, that's not enough at all.
Yeah, how are you going to get by, and how long are you ready to be on that picket line fighting, making only $100 a day?
I don't know how I'm going to survive, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to be out here striking.
It also gets political because these are important states politically. They're swing states, like in Michigan, Ohio, Wisconsin, these kind of places. Will Biden step in and do something? I mean, what's he going to do? Is he just going to give a bunch of taxpayer money to Ford, GM, and Stellantis? I mean, I'm not thrilled on that kind of stuff. There certainly is a possibility of that. It's not impossible. You never know what's going to happen with these things because, like I said, these are important states because they're swing states. On the other side of the aisle, Trump is saying the solution is actually kind of an interesting one, and the EV mandates. So I guess the basic gist, if you take this line of thinking, is that if Ford and GM and Stellantis and all the American manufacturers have to make EV cars, they have to retool their factories, train their workers. It's going to cost a lot of money, et cetera, and maybe not so great for the bottom line. I don't know if that's a great strategy, to be honest, because all around the world, we all know we're going to go EV eventually. Now, how long is it going to take? I do also think that hybrids is probably going to be more dominant than people realize. So, I'm just telling you what Trump says. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I don't think it's like completely outlandish. However, the thing is, though, I wouldn't necessarily say Trump is, or the Republicans are a friend of the unions. Neither necessarily is Biden, as we're going to find out. So I wouldn't necessarily argue that either party is friend of the union. But this is Trump, what he has to say. He says, the best interests of American workers have always been my number one concern. And this is why I strongly urge the UAW to make complete and total repeal of Joe Biden's insane electric vehicle mandate their top non-negotiable demand in any strike. And it's interesting when you talk about this kind of stuff, because I don't think, we'll talk about Tesla now. The Tesla bulls are necessarily thought these things through because generally speaking, guys that do YouTube every single day, you have a lot of people that support Elon because, he's more like freedom of speech, right-wing, this kind of stuff. And yet they need democratic policies of tax credits to keep that industry going. So that's why I said I don't think they thought it through, because I promise you, if the Republicans get in the office, they will definitely cut these tax credits. And actually, that's not necessarily the bad move. Like I said, it's not necessarily a bad move because I would like a balanced budget, and I'm not so thrilled myself on, just giving tax credits to people to buy overpriced vehicles. So, there's no easy answers for this stuff because, and in the same regard too, I do want the U.S. and many countries to, quit relying on fossil fuels. So that's just some thoughts on this. I know we're talking about auto workers, but this is all related because that was, like I said, what would be one solution? That would be a solution that Trump, could Biden do some sort of bailout, this kind of things. Now, what's completely not on the table, and I'm going to repeat again, this is completely not on the table, but was something that, you could certainly help workers quite a bit, is have affordable healthcare, affordable education, these kind of things. Now, in places like here, I live in Korea, I'm just telling you, our healthcare is better, and it's way cheaper. And if you saw the difference in prices, you'd be like, oh my God, it's like crazy cheap. Just to give you an example, when I stayed in the hospital a couple nights, my wife and I were arguing, do we want to get the private room? Should we take the shared room? My wife's like, well, we should save some money and get the shared room. We're like, no, let's get the private room. But we ended up doing the shared room because that's my wife's thing. But this is what we were talking about. Shared room was basically $10 a night, and private room was like $30. and if you understand how much it costs to stay a night in the hospital in the USA, which is like $10,000, and you guys know this, it's like really expensive to go to hospitals in the USA. So that's like the difference in cost is so extreme. And guys, I really get it. I really understand. Healthcare is expensive in USA, and I'm just saying, there are other ways to solve these kind of problems for workers other than fighting about how much we're going to pay people. You can help them in other ways. Like I said, healthcare would be one of them. But I get it. In USA, some people are completely against affordable healthcare, and you do what you do you. One of the things I would say though, just as a reminder in history, the union's actually been fairly weak, starting with the Reagan era. He was basically the union busting president, and again, make your own decision on that. But the thing I want to just point out though is that union membership have really been declining since the 80s. And we've been going into this sort of realm of where we've been exporting jobs to other countries. That's completely something that's been happening. Also, too, we've had a lot of automation, right? There's just less need for these kind of workers, essentially the auto worker type people. And, it is what it is. And I always say so many times on this channel, you got to retool yourself. You got to have job skills that people want and that are valuable. So, people had actually brought to my attention, and I was looking for a data on that, and it didn't find anything, but I'll take your word for it because it doesn't seem like outlandish. People are mentioning comments that oftentimes many of the auto workers have prison records in these kind of things, or criminal records, I should say. and we don't pay these people very much money. So I'm not saying everyone in there is a criminal, but I'm saying that there is, the people have mentioned that, and I was looking through that, and that might be a real thing. The other thing too, which I thought was interesting, is the statements coming from the various car manufacturers. So let's just read what they have to say about that. So this is from them. I think this is Stellantis. We are extremely disappointed by the UAW leadership's refusal to engage in a responsible manner to reach a fair agreement in the best interest of our employees, their families, and our customers. We immediately put the company in contingency mode and will take all the appropriate structural decisions to protect our North American operations. That was from Stellantis. So what does GM have to say? Disappointed by the UAW's leadership action, despite the unprecedented economic package GM put on the table, including historic wage increases and manufacturing commitments. We will continue to bargain in good faith with the union to reach an agreement as quickly as possible. And here's Ford. They're saying, show little movement. It said those would give an extra boost to cost competitiveness of non-union rivals such as Tesla and Toyota. So, and that was the headline as well, is that GM and Stellantis want to talk. Ford is like, screw you. We need to stay competitive. Now, to be fair to Ford, GM and Stellantis, it is certainly true, right? It's a competitive market, and you're also dealing with Wall Street and the board and people who want to push profits. And this is also very real. If workers are too expensive in USA, they can ship the jobs other places. It's a very real thing. And you can start building plants in Mexico. That's something that Tesla is working on, and other manufacturers. So this is a really, really complicated issue. And I've mentioned this times. I probably mention this like once a week on this channel, but if you have not seen the documentary American Factory, I highly recommend it. It really goes into kind of the depth. And I think it's like a 2-hour one, and they filmed it over a very long period of time, a couple of years. And it's difficult to film these kind of things. And it's a fantastic documentary because it really illustrates the problem well. And it's interesting because essentially the basic gist of it is like a windshield factory for cars, and a Chinese money comes and saves an American city, but it's way more complicated than that. So I just wanted to point that out. And it's funny because this is the documentary version, but then the movie version was filmed in the 80s, which is fictional, but this was back in the 80s, and it was a really important time because back then there was a lot of anti-Japanese / Asian sentiment, and it was real. I lived through this stuff, and this movie had a real big cultural importance. But the basic idea was that Japanese money will come and save the American town, and Michael Keaton was kind of the negotiator person stuck in the middle between the workers and the new management. The situation we have now is again, different than this. But I just wanted to point this out because it really, this movie really shows the lives of the American worker, same as this one, like this war documentary, like real. And I give you the basic rundown. I mean, you're dealing with when you ship jobs to other countries, like workers are much younger and just more willing to work. There's a better way to say it, or they have less choices. Like you could put it that way, but it's just really clear. And they show the workers here are here or in the USA, and they're a lot older, and they'll say it's more difficult to learn job schools, that kind of stuff. So yeah, and it's tough. Guys, I really get it. And then this one was a popular, I don't want to say popular word, but I think I won the Oscar for Best Picture, Nomadland. It's about a middle-aged worker who works at Amazon and kind of just shows their life living out of a trailer, and it's tough. And I think there's going to be a lot of workers in USA that are in this category, and I hope you're not part of this. I don't know what else to say. I mean, I just, I really get it. I write about these things in my book. I grew up in these kind of environments around these kind of people. I know this world. I used to work retail. I completely understand these things. And this is like how bad our situation is in the USA. And we can see this one. Evidently, there was like a CVS store manager who got killed recently by shoplifters or whatever. And these are all kind of the same sort of level of workers. Now, the auto factories tend to be a little bit better than, say, just your like retail CVS or McDonald's kind of thing. But
we're second-class citizens. And, the sad reality is, when corporations fail, we pay the price. Our workers pay the price. We made all the sacrifice in the economic, in the Great Recession. And, the sad reality is they've had a decade of record profits. When they're profitable, it's all theirs. They want to keep it all. And the sad reality is, they've made $250 billion, the Big Three have, in the last decade. 21 billion in profits in the first 6 months of this year.
Why these three?
The price of cars have went up 30% in the last 4 years. CEO pay went up 40%. Nobody cried a river. Nobody put fear out then saying what it'll do to the economy. But by God, when workers ask for their fair share, it's the end of the world. It's got to stop. We're better than that, America.
If I ran affordable housing, affordable health care, affordable education, I don't think that's anything crazy, but again, that stuff's not on the docket really. So anyway, I hope you guys understand this, and I do appreciate your time, and I'll catch you next video.